Hi and welcome back to the bench build series. I have to start this video by apologising for losing some footage. It's a typical apprentice mistake, so there we go. Anyway, the footage I've lost is of the installation of the T-track and also applying the finish to the bench. However, there is still plenty to watch, and because in this video I'm making a template out of scrap wood that I've got lying around. This template is to help with the installing the cavities for the power sockets in the legs of the bench. So let's get started. Let's take the tape off. Okay, now the tape's gone off that, the next thing to do is to sand these drip marks off so that when we do put the top on, we've got a flat surface. So this is just a bit of rubbish 120. The next thing I want to do to this bench is to put some power into it. So I'm going to go through my collection of electrical bits and pieces and see if I can find some sockets that I can install into the workbench. My plan is to put a bench vise on this side because I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be chopping things off down there. So we need to keep that in mind when we place the sockets, which I'm going to place on the inside of that leg. So I don't want to place the sockets there because that could interfere with anything that I want to drop down. So I think the best place is going to be in here somewhere. So I think about there. Let's mark that off. So yeah, about there somewhere. Right, Next thing we've got to think about is making a cavity that size to fit that to fit the back of the socket in, so it will go flush against the arm. And for that I think we'll need to make a template, because I've got 4 of these to put in, so making a template would be the ideal way, I think. And we can then trace around the template with the router bit. So I've got an old piece of scrap plywood that I think would be big enough to make our template. So what I need to do is work out a square box to make this thing in. So that is, let's make that 23 centimeters, because that's nice and easy. I'll get a square to make sure that's straight. Assuming the bottom of the template is square, it's going to be, because that's what our reference is going to be. So I've got our reference lines, let's just join those up. Right, now the mark that we made on, that was made on the leg is 10.5 centimeters down from the top, which is going to be there, and measure it again, 10.5. And so that's going to be the top of our back of the socket. So how far down is that? That goes 65, 66, 67 millimeters in space, so 60, so let's make it 70 just to give us a bit of wriggle room. Again, let's join those up. So our thing will sit in there. Now we need to know how wide to make it, and that is going to be 40 millimeters. So let's 40 millimeters. So just somewhere arbitrary. So we've got 40 is there to there, which means the middle is going to be there. Let's bring our square. So we want to cut out that bit there. So. Right, let's do that. Right, let's get the jigsaw out. Right, we'll just clean that up a bit and we'll have our template. We'll keep going like that until we get down to our lines. That's it. And that is the holes for the mounting of the pocket, socket, sorry, pocket. So we'll drill those out, then we can cut our template out and see how we can go about fitting it to the table leg so that it is repeatable. Okay, I've marked out the hole and we're just going to drill a 3mm hole. Right on there. So I don't forget. And then we'll chop out the square piece and then come down here too on the table saw. Right, I am not going to cut it off here. I'm going to cut it off further down because I want to allow plenty of room for the base of the router to sit on, and also on the other side for the pieces of wood we're going to put on there to make sure it's all square. so there we go. That's what we need. What I need to do, I think, is continue those centre marks on the inside edge so that when we line it up we can make sure it's all good. So that's not going to work. So and if we continue those, I think that's pretty close. So now we need to mark out where we want the hole on the leg of the workbench. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We know that the line is the top of our hole, so we need to find the centre. So it's 94, so that's going to be 47. There, and yep, 47 again. So now I need to use some tape. And just cover that centre line. This is just to make it a lot easier to see the marks, the centre line marks on the wood, and it's a very low tack tape, so it shouldn't damage the brand new surface. Right, so again, so 47, so that's 45, 40, 46, 47 is right there, and 47, it's right there. Join those two up. Like so, and that way we know that's the top of our, so that can go up there, and then we can line it up like that, and that will be our centre. So what I want to do now is put some bits of wood on the back there, and that will allow us to clamp this down. So I need to think about how I'm going to do that so that they're adjustable to take into account the various widths of our legs. So working this out on the fly, right, so we know it's 47 from our centre line, so 47, well, let's make it 45. Like that. Okay, so that's going to be like our minimum that we want the edge to be. So I need to look for some scrap wood that I can use to create some edges along here that are big enough to get a clamp onto. So I'll just have a look for some of that and come back. Right, here's a scrap bit of wood. Need to make it as long or as wide as these clamping pieces are. So let's say 50 mil. Doesn't have to be ton, that's not square. Let's make it a bit bigger then. So we'll set that up on the table saw and we'll chop that 2 strips and yeah, go from there. Right, so here we go. So we've got our 2 pieces of wood. I need to line them up like that. And if we can make these adjustable, that would be ideal. Okay, so we know so I just need, that means if we had 2 slots cut in it, well, that might be a bit close. Let's try that. Right, so if we cut our slots along there, then that can move there. We don't need a great deal of movement. So one there and yeah. So from there to about there. So we just need to drill there and then link the two together. So, and that will give us our slot. Right, okay. Right, so we're going to mark, or make a divot for the drill to go into on our marks. Four mil drill bit that we're going to use. That way the ply won't break out. So now we need to just join those holes up. Oh, that moved. Okay, let's see how this goes. This is the smallest tool I've got, so. Oh, that is working. Yep. And you can see it's coming through there, like that. Brilliant. Right, that's how we do that then. Just clean it up a little. Now, if we get the screw that we were going to put in there, and that will slide. Alrighty, I'll carry on and make the other three slots and then we'll come back. Right, so now our slots are cut. What's next? Well, we have to mount these pieces to here so that they can move. Right, so we want to be about the middle there somewhere for our screw. And when I put this on the leg and screw it up tight, the screws will go below the surface of the of our template, and then we will be able to run the router over it with no problems. Show what I mean. Because the plywood is so soft, so that's the sort of thing I'd be after. Let's go and see if it works. Right, so here we go once again. We've got our line down there. So what's happened is I did not allow for the thickness of the pieces here, so we're going to have to make these slots a bit bigger. Come back, let's see how this works. So that's good, that goes up to the top. If we can move that. Let's clamp it up. Right, I might bring you in a bit closer so you can see what's going on. So it's all clamped up, so we should be able to move our template like that. I don't know if you can see it, but the little centre line that I've marked there is right on the line on our tape. Tighten up the bottom ones. Sorry about that. Right. Yeah, it's hard to see on camera, but it is lined up. So that's ready to be routed out now. Right, so I've got the router set up. Okay, I think that's a great place to stop. Next week we will be moving on to cutting the channels for the cable to run along, and also getting the cable down the legs or through the legs and into the cavities that we've just made. So and in the end we will connect it all up and see if it works, which I'm sure it will. So if you've liked what you've seen so far, and if you're watching this, you probably have, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell. That way you'll find out when the next one's uploaded to YouTube. So after that, thanks for watching, and see you next time on the Workbench Apprentice.